Assalamu alaikum students. How are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine and doing well preparation for your PT-2 exam which is coming soon. So students, ready for subject English class 7. Here students, recapitulation for you of your grammar guide textbook. So first of all, take your grammar guide textbook. Here I have given your 3 chapters recapitulation, that's tenses, prepositions and conjunctions. Now first of all students, I would like to say you that I have already given you practice worksheet. There also I have written the note that you have to learn everything from videos, textbooks, CW, PDFs, etc. So students, don't depend only on practice worksheet. Start learning each and everything. In a practice worksheet, we have given just some exercises, which is for your knowledge that this type of exercise, this type of blanks will come in your exam. But don't depend only on worksheet. Try to learn each and everything from textbook, your CW which you have completed. And if you have any doubts, please check previous videos or you can write in the comment box. So in a next video, if you can solve first your doubts and we go to ahead. Now look at students. In a fourth number chapter tenses, we have learned many tense. In a present tense, we have seen how to read, how to speak and how to write positive, negative sentence, interrogative sentence and short form of sentence. In a present tense. Then in a present continuous, what we have to add? How to turn negative interrogative sentence. Same in a past and future too. In a simple present, we have learned that the action which happen again and again, which happen every day, for that we have to use simple present. But the action which is going now, for that we have to use present continuous. In a very first page of this lesson, we have seen the differentiate between simple present and present continuous. In a simple present, we have to just add S or ES, or we can use only the main form of the verb, like studying. Here there isn't other things because here I is used. If in place of I, he, she, it is there, so we have to add S or ES. Then in present continuous, we have to put ing with the verb. I'm studying English. In negative, I'm not studying. Am I studying? It's an interrogative sentence. And what's the short form? Am. I apostrophe am. So these we have learned in a present tense, simple present and present continuous. After we have seen the uses of these both tenses, that present continuous mainly used for an action which is happening, which is going now. Then for simple present, the action which has happened again and again. Then the action which has happened which is saying about the general truths. So which tense we have to use? Simple present. Like birds fly, is it true? The birds are flying only. For that we have to use simple present. Then we have to use simple present tense for the things which stay the same for a long time. Even simple present we can use for the future action also. But which future action? When this action is a part of the timetable. For that we can use simple present. For personal arrangement we have to use present continuous. So what's the format of present continuous? You have to use am is are, and with the verb you have to use ing. After we have learned related simple past, present perfect, past perfect. So in a simple past, we have learned that the action which is over. So for that, the events and the action which is over, for that we have to use simple past. And for that we have to use yesterday, last night, etc. I studied English yesterday, last night. So this we have to use, here we have to use past form of verb. Then in your textbook, the another tense is given, that is present perfect. So students, in present perfect, look at here. This is a past perfect, it's a present perfect. If he, she, it is there, so you have to use has plus past participle form. If I is there, we have to use have plus past participle form. In a past perfect, we have to use had with any your pronoun. I, he, she, it, they, whatever is given to you, you have to use had plus past participle form of that verb. After, we have learned about present perfect continuous. So in a present perfect continuous, you have to use have or has according to your subject. If your subject is I, you have to use have. If your subject is he, she and it, so you have to use has only. And with, you have to use been with your verb ing. I have been studying, she has been studying, etc. So students, we have learned these all things. Even we have learned past perfect also. So this is all tenses which already given in a very good way in your textbook. You can open previous videos also for your better understanding. Now here I have just given you one exercise. So students, just we look at here the why this answer came here. Put the verbs in brackets into the simple past or past perfect. Now, simple past means the action which is over. For that we have to use simple past. And past perfect. Past perfect to talk about something that had happened before the past time we are thinking about. Now look at the first. The film dash when we dash to the cinema. Which action is over? To reach the cinema. Right? So here simple past will come. And past perfect means to talk about something that had happened before. The past time we are thinking. Which action is finished here? Got to the cinema. The film had already started. This action happened first, had already started. After you got to the cinema. She dash where you dash. She asked where you had gone. When we dash the forms, we dash them in. When we had completed, here completed will come. Not only T, here D will come, students. Right here had completed the forms, we handed them in. Here you have to write past participle form of complete. Completed the forms, we handed them in. It was a good story, but I had heard it before. Be form. Be form means to be formed. Here in a past form, we have to use was or were. If there is you given, so you have to use were. I had heard it before. Now look at the prepositions of time and place. Now students, this is your 10th number chapter, prepositions. Here we'll see first prepositions of time and place. Now in prepositions of time also we can use in, on and at. Now in, where to use in, where to use on and at when we are speaking related time. And what's about this place? How to use in, on and at by talking about place, that we'll learn today. Now, when we talk about prepositions of time, so for clock time or meal time, we have to use at 9 a.m., at 8 o'clock, at 6 p.m. We have to use at. When we talk about day and date, we have to use on Monday, on Saturday, on June 3rd, on 1st October, etc. But remember students, when you are talking about the holiday time, means long period of time of holiday, that time you have to use at, not on. Then in we have to use for longer period, that is month, years and seasons. In 2021, in June, in winter, in 20th century. In we can use for the morning, afternoon, etc. And for night we have to use at night. On we can use for day and date if it's given together. Friday evening, day or date, it's a part of a day. Like on Friday evening, only Friday is giving, so we have to use on Monday, on Saturday, but only morning is given, so we have to use in. But with time, day or date is given, so that time don't have to use in, you have to use on Friday evening, on the afternoon, 10th, etc. Now look at the preposition of place. We use at to talk about position. The position, a point in a space. Like she was waiting at the railway station. So here position of a person at particular place. To show events or group activities also we have to use at. Like I saw Raj at a cricket match. I saw Maria at the party. So that time for some events or some activities, that time we have to use at. If you are talking about shops or workplace, you have to use at. At the baker's shop, etc. So that time we have to use at the bus stop, at the door, at the top of page, at someone's house, at the entrance, at the crossroads, at the front, at the back, at the bottom. In we have to use when we are talking about some volume or area. We see something as having volume or area in the kitchen. Yes, in the article. In we have to use with cities also, in England, in Chinatown, etc. But at we have to use when we see the city, town or village as a point on a journey. So remember these differences. In we have to use with cities, but when you are talking as a as that you have seen the city as a journey point of view. So that time you have to use at. Our plane stopped at London on the way to New York. That time you have to use at. But if you just say we stayed in London for 2 days, so that time you have to use in. And on. Once again on a bus, not on a bus station. If you are talking about bus station, bus stop, that time you have to use at. On a plane, on a horse, on a phone, on the internet, on the television, on the floor, on the page, on the menu, on Oxford Street. So that time you have to use this in, on, and at in these particular places. Now look at prepositions of travel or travel prepositions. We know that general we are using by for preposition as a travel preposition. By train, by bus, by car, by motorcycle, etc. American using by foot, but we are using British English almost, so we are using on foot, not by foot. When we are talking about particular vehicles, that time you don't have to use by. What you have to use? In car, in van, in lorry, in truck, in small boat. On you can stand, walk. On train, on plane, on bus, on ship, on tram, on large boat, etc. And when you really sit and upon it, on bike, on motorcycle, on skates, skateboard, etc. Now here this exercise I have already given in your worksheet. So look at here. There was a man sitting in the waiting room. He was angry with me for coming late. They don't know the case of the accident. He was absent from work yesterday. The skyline in New York City extends as far as the eye can see. Now, these two prepositions is known as a complex prepositions. Now, students, complex prepositions means that there is a more than one word in a preposition, like in front of, ahead of, far off, as far as, according to, due to, instead of, in spite of, in order to, in place of, far from, close to. These all are known as complex prepositions which has more than one word. So these are known as complex prepositions. Due to very heavy rains, the school is flooded and the reopening is postponed to next week. Now conjunctions. Students, we have learned after conjunctions. As we know that conjunctions means joining words which connects parts of sentences, parts of words together according to meaning. Now, as we know that, and we can use to connect similar ideas, but we can use for the opposite idea, or also we can use for the alternative ideas. Either or, neither nor also. Neither nor almost we are using for negative. Then yet we can use in the meaning of in spite of. So we can use to talk about result. We can use so that also, but in written we are using almost so that, but while speaking we are almost using only so. Then while, when, whenever, as, before, after, as soon as, still, until, since, these also we are using to show about the time relationship. Where and wherever we are using for the position or place. As we know that where we are using for place. So here whereas and where also we can use for the position or place. Then in case. In case means something else might happen later. Like because might. So these prepositions we have already seen. Even we have seen though, although, even if, even though, which is stronger than though, although, and even if. And what's the even if? Even if means whether or not. Then as and then we are using as a comparative degree for comparison. Now in your textbook there are 20 sentences. I've just taken here 6 one. So look at the first one. Be careful. Dash, you cross the road. So here what's the answer? Be careful when you cross the road. Position. It's not a position. In which particular time? So here when is showing time. When you cross the road. Which time you have to be careful? When you cross the road. We stayed at home. Dash, watched a video. But watched a video, it's not an opposite idea. And watched a video. What we have done after stayed home and watched a video. She behaves dash. She owns the palace. Even though, as though. So here what will come? As though. What we have learned, even though is stronger than though, and although, as though, etc. As though we will use when we have a question like how. How she behaves. She behaves as she owns the palace. So when you got the answer of how question, you have to use as though. I will write down the address in case I forget it. The bag was so heavy that I couldn't carry it. He is very old, yet he can walk fast. So the person is old, yet, then also. Yet means in spite of that. In spite of that, the person is old, he can walk fast. So this is about the conjunctions. You have to learn all 20 conjunctions. Try to understand it and learn well. Next topic we'll see in the next video. Thank you all and have a great day.